Hello, hello, hello. This is your host, Latanya Washington, and I am so excited that I have with me this afternoon Sweeney May, as well as LaShawn Spivey Angeletti, and we are going to be talking about you know, as a leader, do you carry that superpower? And as a leader, are you a dreamer? And I am so excited because here we are getting prepared for Tilt 2020 for leaders that will be happening September 18th and 19th. Hip, hip, hooray. It is going to be virtual. You can see us from the comforts of your very own home. So, let's get it in. We are about to have a chit chat. We are about to have a conversation. So give us 30 seconds and come on back in the room. Hey, 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 this is Latanya, and I'm so excited. You all don't understand how excited I am. I have my girls here with me this afternoon who are part of a Tilt, the International List Tour for Leaders. I see Tim is here. Tim Adams is here. He is one of our amazing instructors saying, hey, Tim, how are you this afternoon? And I cannot tell you guys how much it means to me that you all are part of this experience, this virtual experience with us here. And Sweetie May, introduce yourself to the masses out here in the virtual land.
What's going on, you guys? As Latanya said, my name is Sweeney, and I'm excited to be back with Tilt 2020. It used to be called the List Tour, but every time, and I think in the last 2 years that Latanya has hosted this, I was on vacation because I usually take my vacation in September. So I'm glad to be back. As you can see, we can't take vacations right now, but I'm glad to be back. And typically, when I've been a part of the List Tour before, I would always instruct about marketing and social media, and anything a little bit more technical on the marketing side. But this year, I'm happy to share my thoughts on leadership, my experiences about leadership, because on top of being a social media marketing expert, I have also held so many leadership positions, and it was always trial and error. So, in my talk, when we have the conference, it's a lot more about, the things I've learned, and hopefully it can help catapult you and
Right.
help you kind of skip some of the learning process by having me share my experiences with you. And then, as in addition to being a social media marketing expert, I'm also the marketing director for South Bay Pavilion, a shopping center in the city of Carson. I am also a Zumba instructor, but
Ooh,
don't worry, I'm not gonna make you or
we
make
need
you.
some Zumba, Zumba, Zumba,
Okay,
Zumba.
we usually do those Zumba breaks, at the List Tour. And I am also a part of a real estate company in the Philippines called Mega World.
Mhm.
And on top of that, I currently hold a board membership position with the Rotary Club, with my local Sheriff's Foundation, with the City of Carson's public relation. And I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's,
that's a lot. That's a
that's it
lot,
for
Sweeney
now.
May.
That's it
That's
for
a
now.
lot, Sweeney May. That's a lot. I'm excited that you are here with me this afternoon. And I think LaShawn just fell off. She'll be back on in a minute. And I am excited because this year we are talking about leadership, and we're dealing with leaders and leadership development and leaders who lead other people. And so this is what I wanted us to talk about because in my very own experience, Sweeney May, in positions, and many people that are watching us and listening to us. I see my sister is here. Dr. Sawyer is on from the East Coast. She'll be at the at Tilt, and Tim Adams, one of our amazing instructors, and I see Constance Moonsway is here, one of our amazing instructors, and a dear friend Eric Smart is here. He said hello, Miss Washington, and so one of my very own experiences, Sweeney, and I know LaShawn is coming back in, has been in that position. A lot of times we do not know who we can literally go to also to glean from and to be mentored. And it's so many things out there for us leaders that um, we need other people that are leading and also that are there that we can actually talk to, because we find out many times we can't even find people that you can literally be vulnerable with and be able to share with and be able to get further instruction from. So what has been your experience, Sweeney? There's LaShawn.
Welcome back, girl.
Welcome back, lady.
So you're asking what has been my experience when it comes to like being having someone else to lean on and stuff like.
Thank you.
Exactly.
My experience, number one, I do want to share with you that everyone that's in leadership position is totally figuring it out as they go.
Right.
I used to think that people that are leading, they all have it figured out. That once I'm a leader, like I have to also get it figured out. But the leaders ahead of me from all these organizations that I've been a part of, they have been vulnerable with me and honest with me and saying, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just,
Right.
I'm just making sure that A, I'm inspiring the members of the organization, that and B, that I'm always looking to see what strengths and weaknesses people have and how
Yeah.
can we together work together. And in that case, you're always figuring it out because you're always dealing with different people. And
Yeah.
so I think the one thing I learned, so one of the things that happens with me a lot is I'm typically the youngest one in the organization, and
Mm.
I've been in leadership. I've been a president of my Rotary Club where I was the youngest one, and you have CEOs of other companies there, and etc. And to be nominated in a leadership position, it was a lot of pressure. Like, I'm like, what am I going to do with all these professionals in
Right.
front of me? Especially those who have been there and done that, like 20 years older than myself. And but what I learned is once once someone gave me that tip saying that we don't know what we're doing, we're just all figuring it out,
Right.
that made me feel a little bit more comfortable and say, okay, well, let me figure it out and let me see let me figure out the style I want to have as a leader and
Yeah.
then implement it.
And then implement it. Right. Right. Welcome back, LaShawn. We were missing you there for a moment. Miss Dream Cultivator. Hopefully she can hear us. Can you hear us, LaShawn?
I
Yeah,
think there's
Okay.
a delay maybe.
so I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear us,
Can you hear
LaShawn?
me?
Okay, we
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Okay, great, great.
Okay.
So LaShawn, we're here because we were getting ready for Tilt 2020. You are the mistress of ceremony for the night. And we're in a place where a lot of leaders will be in attendance. And I was just saying to Sweeney, where do leaders go? And then even I want us to talk about, do you have what it takes to lead? And so let's talk about
Mm.
that this afternoon. But let's go to the first one, the first question, um, just before, do you have what it takes to lead? Share a little bit about maybe even your experience as a leader, because you have people that are falling behind you as well. From your children to people that glean from you. Talk about that for us this afternoon too.
So when it comes to as far as you mean directly, I'm sorry, you gave a couple questions, and so my mind is excited. Like, yes, I'm gonna give me
It's
whatever you want,
excited. It's
doctor.
excited. Go
But
to the first
you said
question. What has been your
so. The
experience
first
as a
part,
leader? Hmm.
oh, my experience as a leader. You
Yes.
know, um, I think for leadership, a lot of times people forget that we have gifts and talents that require us to step in the forefront in all areas of our life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't consider ourselves leaders and get a label or a position.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really look back over your life, there are different times that you've been called to step in the forefront, even if it was a
Yeah.
silent position. But about what you knew how to do, a gift or a talent you had other people lean on you.
Yep.
So when you give yourself credit first, that being a
Mm-hmm. She breaking
leadership
up.
role,
Mm-hmm.
then it allows you to see other areas where people looked at you, whether it was in friendships or in collaborations.
Yeah.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah. Keep going though. Breaking up a
Latanya,
little
did you
bit.
say I'm breaking up?
Mm-hmm. But we can hear you on in and out. You're in and out.
Uh-oh.
It might be because you're a little far from your
Okay.
internet
Okay.
connection.
So even when it comes down to, uh, I'm so sorry. So
So go
turn
out
on
and
to
come
welcome
back.
to video. You know I'm good for.
Well,
So anyway,
I
okay,
can.
she'll be back. She'll be back. She'll be back. She'll be back.
She
And
made.
so what was
Sorry,
that,
I was
Sweeney?
gonna say she made some great points about being a
Yeah.
leader doesn't have to mean that you actually have an official
Right.
title.
Right.
And actually, I'll be sharing a great story in my segment at Tilt 2020 about
Mm-hmm.
how I became a leader as the oldest sibling.
Mm,
As the eldest sibling, how my
right.
parents put me in charge back in the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
while they both came to America to make the
Mm-hmm.
dollar and
Right.
put me in charge. So I tell that story in my
Mm-hmm.
segment. So if you guys have been teeter-tottering about, whether or not to come to attend our virtual tilt 2020, and
Yeah.
I just shared this on my Facebook page. So for my peoples that don't know what tilt 2020 is, it's going to be a virtual conference so you can attend from your own home, and we're going to
Yeah.
be talking a lot about not just leadership but overall subject of someone who is a leader, entrepreneur, business owner, all of that.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad we are talking about this because like I said before, it allows us even to be in the place of being vulnerable and having the ability to ask questions from our instructors that will be instructing on that day. Because we all, at the end of the day, even though you're in a position, as LaShawn said, we don't even put titles on ourselves. I think people just come in as leaders. You just lead. But two, Sweeney, I think we're still students. And I'm glad because even in one of the panel discussions, we have male panelists. We're going to be talking about leaders who grow leaders. And, I think we still are in that state of being a student. And when you stop growing or, as a leader, when you are in a position and you stop growing, I don't know where you would be. I mean, can you still lead? So kind of shed your light on that, Sweeney. What do you believe in that? Do leaders continue to grow? Do they have a plateau? What would you say in regards to that?
I love that question. And of course, we are going to be always students in life.
Yeah,
And I think that great leaders continue to learn from other leaders,
yeah,
whether those leaders are better than them or not. Sometimes you can learn from people's mistake as well.
yeah.
And definitely, I like personally, I invest a lot of time reading books. Your
Mm-hmm,
John C. Maxwell's, your all these other books that can help me understand different styles of leadership, different
mm-hmm.
instances where as a leader, you can emerge as a leader.
Yeah.
And, the best way to learn all of this without having to make those mistakes is reading books, reading about
Mm,
other people, reading about people's biography who are leaders, because they share so much of their stories, so
yeah,
much of the,
yeah,
trials and errors that they go through. And those are my favorite ways to learn, because then without really knowing it, I apply it to real life. And then I think back, oh, that's how I got that idea,
yeah.
because this thing that I read.
Right, right. That's good. That's good. LaShawn, we were just talking about leaders and growth of leaders. And I know previously before you went out, you were discussing about your way of leading and not coming with a true title of leadership because you just begin to step into the role. And so let me ask you this question. Do you believe that leaders are yet still students or in that state of learning? Kind of shed some light with us on in regards to that.
Oh, yes. I absolutely do. Leaders are definitely still students. As a matter of fact, a good leader, the way to find out a good leader is to see who their students are. Who is
Mm-hmm.
beneath you? Who is the person who is your newest candidate? Who
Mm-hmm.
who is the intern that's coming in up under you? Who
Right.
is excited about learning from you? Who is studious when it comes down to you speaking? It
Yeah.
makes a difference. A lot of times we look at leadership as meaning that, you've come to a plateau that you landed on, and that's it. Like, we've maxed out here. I'm the boss. And
Yeah.
that's not it. When we really take into account what leadership means, to have everybody working in their true in their positions properly,
Yeah.
the leader has to understand, a good leader understands that in order for them to be a good leader, they have to be a good follower. They have to
Mm,
be a good student. There's no way that you can walk through and have exceptional leadership skills when you're not teachable, when you're
yeah.
not, when you can't be pliable when it comes down to change. And also, if you can't, I think one of the biggest things about leaders that I think that one of the things that I try to live by, and I
Yeah.
draw other leaders who live by these type of practices. They may
Mm,
not word it the way I do, but I'll tell you what it's called. I think one of the most things that is important about leadership is when I understand that you're my complement and not my competition.
mm,
When it
mm-hmm.
comes to teamwork, make the dream work. Every
Yeah.
single
It's
member, when
real.
leader, you need to look at your people who you allow to be a part of your team. They
Right.
need to be a compliment to you, not just because you gain something from them, but you give something to them as
Yeah.
well. Now everybody is growing. So when we
Right.
look at leadership as a compliment versus a competition, that changes the game. We're all excited about working in our positions.
And that's real. And I'm loving that. And then tap into that as well, Sweeney, because it is so true. Everyone has to be able to compliment one another. And I remember Constance would always make this statement too. You got your players, you got your A players, your B players, your C players. You got to know who's around or who's at this table. And I think as Sweeney is about to jump on, we're getting to that point where and I'm glad you made that statement, because we have to look at who's complimenting us. Are they also giving into a tap into that as well, Sweeney? Hey, sister. My sister's here.
I love that, LaShawn. And the other thing too, sometimes people have the misconception that as a leader that you're in charge, you have the authority, you tell everybody what to do. But in reality, once you really step into that leadership, you have to figure out how to work with others
Yeah,
even more than when you weren't a leader,
yeah,
because you have to start, okay, if you have your members in front of you, like I said earlier, for instance, in my Rotary Club, there are members there that are 20, 30 years older than me, and like they have very strong opinions. So how do you
yeah.
manage that?
That's
So
true.
you have to be able to work with others very well, and find a way to be complementary. Not I guess I'm saying you can't rely on being complimentary naturally. As
Mm,
a leader, I think you have to find a way to be complimentary. So if you
mm.
have someone with a strong opinion, ask them. So what do you think? And then you have to listen. It's not going to come naturally because you know eh, if there are 30 people in your organization, you can't just be naturally complimentary to 30 people. So you have to learn how to be complimentary to these people that you're leading.
Yeah, and two, for me, especially in my field, dealing with crisis management, teaching companies how to manage a crisis. And a lot of times, what I always tell people, you really have to understand the individuals that you're dealing with, because you have people who come in with different personalities. You don't know what they're dealing with at home, and having the patience and the humility to even say, okay, let me connect with this individual. And that's what leaders do as well. Being able to truly, truly understand who you are dealing with and going in, being intentional on saying, okay, what is really going on here? What is it that I can do? How can I pull people up? Because I want to throw this back to you all as well, LaShawn, next. Leaders, I believe, are to empower other people and to cause other people to step into that leadership role. Jump in on that, LaShawn.
Absolutely. A leader who doesn't have the capacity to stretch, encourage, motivate, inspire their team, that means that there's no potential for growth. That means that
Wow.
they held it, that you literally just put the jacket on to be able to stun it. You wanted to wear it. You wanted
Right.
to fashion show the position. Why would you do that? Because you have to work so hard to get it. Let's just start there. Even if somebody gave it to you, you had to have worked on mastering a skill set, a practice, a career, something in order to be offered the opportunity to be a leader. So
Mm-hmm.
to receive that position, you have to see the value in being able to look around you and expand that level of growth in your teammates
That
and
part.
don't staying where you are. The biggest thing for me about it, if I am going to become, even if, I'll say this from being an educator, no matter
Mm.
how I saw the position of being an educator in my classroom, the biggest education I did is when I left. When I leave the classroom, who I am when I leave there has to match who I told them that I am in that
Right.
room.
Right.
And if I don't show those children in my personal life, even though I may see them just in a grocery store or something else,
Yeah.
or I may see their mama and daddy somewhere on the street, how about
Right.
an adult comedy show or something? If I am not walking in integrity and the same leadership skills that I've solicited to these children, I can't grow because one, what I put into the atmosphere is only about 5% of me, and I'm never going to get further than that. So I have
Yeah.
to stretch myself, stretch them, and then show them how to move up so that I can move up. Until you, the person up under you, can become the leader, you can't become the supervisor. Let's say that.
Mm. Mm. That's good. That's good. What you say, Sweeney?
I think that's a very one of the very good ways or great ways to look at leadership is how, as a leader, how well can you create other leaders that
Mm-hmm.
were once your followers, once were your students. And I'm getting excited because LaShawn is right on with my presentation. Before I prepared my presentation, I prayed about it and said, okay,
Yeah.
Lord, I've read all these books, I've read all these biographies, I've seen all these movies. Now, please guide me into exactly what I can
Yeah.
say in an hour, because there's so much you can say in an hour. So I think, just all the things that LaShawn had said definitely make sense. Like, who are you when no one is watching? For sure. And who
Mm-hmm.
are you outside of your organization? So it all has to match up, because, or complement, right, each
Yeah.
other, because if something doesn't quite add up, I mean, someone's going to catch on.
Right, right, and that's real talk. And so now let me ask you all this, because as you all that are here and that'll be watching this later, LaShawn is our mistress of ceremony for the the evening and the day, amazing day sessions. Sweeney May is one of our keynote session speakers. We'll be talking about how to obtain your quote unquote superpower, and which is so necessary when it comes to leadership, because at the end of the day, leaders got to step up to another level, because people are so dependent upon you to lead. And I always say, and I think who was that, even at the retreat that we had with the Dream Cultivator with LaShawn, I know that Shavana would talked about how we have to give from our surplus.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good, let's talk about that, because I know a lot of people here do not understand you have to be full, because and then you give it out from your surplus. So talk about that, LaShawn. This is some good stuff. We're getting ready for till 2020 for leaders.
Till 2020. So to give from your surplus means that you have extra.
Oh,
In order for you to have extra, that means that you have to have your cup full. I'm excited because my cup is
you
sitting right
got
here.
the cup. Where's my cup? Where's my cup?
So, so for example, if I'm only right now, this cup is only about a third full. If I am giving of myself, I'm pouring out all my gifts and talents, I'm pushing everybody, and my cup keeps shrinking, I am not going to be able to provide my, whatever this, my audience, my platform, my business, those that are looking for me to stand in what my gift is and lead in a way that is effective to create
Right.
more leaders. I can't move.
Can't
But we've
move.
been taking care of this cup and it's full. And
Yeah,
now I have an overflow. I can give you what you need from my overflow and still stay full. That means
that's
that
right.
or sleep, give myself sleep on time. If I need to eat properly.
Help
Whatever
me,
it
Jesus.
is, whatever it is, you have to be able to give to yourself first.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean, a lot of time people say give to myself first. I mean, I'm going to buy the purse that I want. No,
Mm.
think about the things that keep you functioning. If you need rest, if there's jazz music, whatever it is for
Yeah.
relaxation, if it's yoga, if it's Zumba, whatever it is that you have, like Sweeney says, for your superpower,
Yeah.
whatever it is to keep that superpower power feel like it's full. If your house is in disorder, in disarray, so will your business be.
Yeah.
If your
Yeah.
friendships, your marriage, your family order is off, it's going to pour into your business. So we
Mm,
have to make sure that our cup is full with good water, whatever it is that we need, and then we can give people what they need of us from our surplus.
that's it. I love it. I love it. Sweeney,
I
Yolanda said meditation is key. We love it, Yolanda.
Yes.
I definitely love that because um and I'm with you when you say extra because I'm the queen of extra. No. But I mean, it's in my personality, you know. I always have something extra, and I'm starting to just accept that and learn that. And you know, my friends, every time I do something, like you're so extra, I'm like, well, hey, catch
Oh
some.
well. Oh well.
You gotta do the one shoulder shrug, like, hey, catch some of this extraness. Yes, exactly. And I love that. And being and filling your cup can mean all sorts of different ways. And once your cup is not full, you're the people that you're leading will see it. Your patience is shorter, you're temperamental, you're just, you know, you're not as creative. The juices are not flowing,
Yeah.
basically. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Like give from your surplus. That's a great advice.
Giving from your surplus. So even you all that are here, yeah, we have to learn that point. We have to be able to make sure we're filled up and then be able to give from our surplus, which means sometimes we cannot answer those phones. Sometimes we just have to be still, like Yolanda said, meditation is key. A lot of times we just really got to get still and find ourselves, oftentimes, even if it means sitting down and reading a book, or sometimes just watching television and just finding your own me time. It is so necessary because you cannot give. Because at the end of the day, like you all said, man, your patience will be gone. I mean, there is no patience when you are upset and
Or
you
3 hours
ain't
of sleep.
okay, okay, all of that is happening. And so to you guys, and I know here we're talking about, even do you have what it takes to lead? Let's talk about that conversation, because a lot of times you have people that are out there that want to lead and maybe they don't know how. But what would you say it would take to literally step into a leadership role? What does it take? Or does it simply come naturally? Yella Shaunn.
Ooh,
That's good. Don't
Such
get me started.
a deep question. It
yeah.
has a lot of moving parts, this
It's
question.
moving, honey. It's moving.
Here. All right. So there's a lot of layers here when it comes to leadership and being what is quote unquote considered a good leader.
Yeah.
We have to have a couple things. We have to have patience. I think self-efficacy is such a big deal.
Mhm.
If I don't know who I am and I'm not comfortable with myself, I'm always looking for somebody else to validate me.
Right. Yeah. That's
I'm a
right.
time when it comes down to leadership, because that means that anybody look like they trying to do better, or that they are challenged because they're smart, what was supposed to be a compliment what now becomes a competition, because I'm looking at them like, wait, hold on, she's trying to take my spot. We don't have time for that. So you have to be able to self-validate. You
Yeah.
don't need, the team should not be something that just determines how valuable you are as a human being, how well you're doing your job. You have to be comfortable with being corrected, no matter what it is, where it comes from. You have to be able to take it,
Yeah.
and you have to accept negative um, backlash. You know what I mean? I got reminded recently. Sometimes, LaShawn, even in your rawness and you being yourself, please don't allow nobody to take you out of character. I say the funny part is some of that character, I like her, so I had to pull her back. So a good leader got to know how to even pull back on those spaces
Pull
where
back.
somebody else might think are negative, but you might feel comfortable with your strong suit of checking somebody. And
That's real talk.
people don't like saying that, but that's the truth. When you're a strong personality, you're comfortable with correcting people. And not
Yeah.
everybody that they like that you can lead well, but they don't like that you could check well. So you
Mm.
even find a way to pull back on your own strengths.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to have a level of humility
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
might be comfortable for yourself as a strong personality.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's all a part of the process of growing. And I
Yeah.
think also some level of integrity that makes you want to empathize even when you don't understand.
Mm.
Good leaders It's one thing to say, well, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter, this is business. You cannot use the term "this is business" to justify everything you do as a leader.
Right.
That will make bad business
Yeah.
decisions. You have to be able to step back and to be able to take account of some things and put yourself not only in the shoes, but find other resolutions while you're in those shoes. So at least, even if you have to make a leadership call that allows you, that requires you to step in and maybe demote somebody, replace somebody, you can do it with a level of integrity that leaves them empowered to do better
Yeah.
in their next chapter. You can
Yeah.
lead people with tools that say, listen, these are the areas that for our business that you had, some challenges in, but these are the things that I see as strong suits. And I
Yeah.
empathize with where you are, I understand what was happening. But if you can take these three things, these three tips, you're going to blow somebody's mind because you're exceptional in these areas. Blah, 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 blah. If you cannot leave, with that, I don't know. I just think there's a level of arrogance that comes with the term leadership that we shouldn't have. There should be more humility than it should be
Yeah.
arrogance.
Yeah. You have to lead from that humble place. You cannot be arrogant leading. Okay. So here, do you have what it takes to lead? That's humility. Sweeney.
You can't have arrogant. You can't be arrogant. But if you were arrogant, you will learn soon, fast, to get rid of the arrogance. Someone will teach you. Something will teach you for sure. And I think, I think one of the things, I think the top thing that someone really needs to have in order to be a leader is the passion and the interest of serving others,
Hmm.
because I think that if you have service in mind, you like to give back,
Yeah.
you want to see people grow, you want to inspire others, you want to motivate others, you want to grow, a nonprofit organization. If you have that inside of you in your belly, just
Yeah.
bubbling up, like I think you can lead. And the only difference between someone who's a leader and someone who's not, sometimes is a chance, right? An opportunity. And then sometimes it's a choice, because you can choose to take on that leader path and let your organization know, hey, I'm willing to lead, give me something, and let me show you what I can do. And you're showing yourself what you can do. Or
Hmm.
sometimes it's by chance, someone sees your potential and they put you in a leadership position, and boom, whether you're ready or not,
Yeah.
you're in a leadership position. And what it would take for you, for one, is to understand that as a leader, you actually have to serve other people. That's your role, is service. And two, you have to have flexibility
Yeah.
in your personality, in your everything, because like LaShawn said, you're dealing with so many different people. So you have to be
Yeah.
flexible. And then it's kind of like a thin line between flexibility and multiple personality.
Mm.
But
You
it has
schizophrenia, schizophrenia.
something. But if in my experience, you have, okay, which Sweeney do you want right now? Do you want the empathizer Sweeney today, or do you want the mean Sweeney today? Or which Sweeney do you want today? I'll show you who that is.
Servant leader. And my
Um,
like my sister said, just a servant leader. It's being a servant leader. Hey, sis. And so too, and I think too, even at Tilt, and that's why I'm so excited about it, you all. First of all, this is our first time going virtual because we have been traveling for since 2013. We have been everywhere, even to Lagos, Nigeria, just traveling. And so this is even another stepping stone for us because this is where we are now. Everyone is going virtual. This is where our seasons. This is our season, and I believe it'll allow other people who are leading to be able to feel okay with stepping out of their comfort zone into something new. I had to step out of the comfort zone because we could have completely canceled this, but stepping out of the comfort zone and saying it's okay to go to the next level. Now, one thing that we are going to do at Tilt on that Friday evening, we're going to be dealing with leadership styles. They're going to be breakout hubs, because I truly believe, and I want you all to step in and say this as we're ending this call. I truly believe that a leader has to understand their leadership style. You have to understand how you're leading in order to be able to connect with your audience. I understand my leadership style. My leadership style is transformational and it is also participative, which means I am a leader who will inspire. I love to encourage. I love to get the input from other people. I know my leadership style. And I believe everyone needs to understand how they lead before they step into being able to help other people. I want to hear from you all as well. Do you believe it is a necessity? I already said it's a necessity, but what would you consider your leadership style to be? Because we are tapping into this right from the jump on Friday. We tapping straight into it. We're going to do our hubs, and we're going to be able to pull that out of people who may not understand their style. And then two, knowing how do you have what it takes to lead, even before we go into the next day, which is going to be phenomenal. LaShawn, and then Sweeney.
Yeah, definitely. When I think of my leadership style, I know a lot of people consider me humorous, and that
Yeah,
drives me because they're like, okay, she's funny, she's engaging, she's raw, and she's telling the truth. She's honest. She will speak a pain point out loud with a smile, so that
right.
people feel safe with me. They
Yeah,
make them feel like, all right, she can make light of it, and she understands me. So from that position, I have to remember that people come to me with their heart and their spirit in their hand,
yeah, yeah, in
and
their hand.
I have to make sure that that I'm open,
Yeah,
because that's heavy weight. You come when you tap in and people are and they draw from you that position of, truth be told, it's a level of dreaming. It's a level of wishing that you were free, and then give you
mm,
to be free. So
mm-hmm.
with that level of motivation that inspires people, and then they
Yeah,
open up and want me to see the pain.
yeah,
They do. We're in a raw space. I have to make sure that I tap in and make sure that I do healing while I'm
yeah,
in there, and that I show them tools so that they can survive as they close those chapters,
yeah.
or heal in those areas and move forward. I can't go in, take them for a high and drop them on their face. I just know that that's,
Yeah,
but sometimes people get like that when they get close to you and they feel like, oh, this is warm over here.
right.
You have not made direct contact. A lot of people can be like that even up under your leadership when you were not leading them directly.
Yeah,
You inspired them from their position. They got close enough to hear you and take your advice, but they didn't connect with you.
yeah, yeah,
So that's something that I know that I have to make sure that I hold myself accountable for, so that I make sure that even when I am in that space, I leave tools of how to get from A to B to
yeah.
C, and to check in with self, so that they
Mm,
don't end up vulnerable for somebody to take advantage of them in that space. That's
that's
a
good.
lesson that I give
Yeah,
people.
that's it. That's it. What about you, Sweeney?
My leadership style, well, my personality comes out a lot, in my leadership positions. I'm energetic. I like to be fun. I'm
Hmm.
witty. And I thrive in those organizations where my members are like, can go back and forth with me when we're meeting, something very, very informal. But I'm also I guess, want to say a pusher. I like to push people to the next thing that they
Yeah,
don't even know they're capable of.
yeah.
Like, for example, I have 6 staff members that report to me at my job. I have my guest services and I have my coordinator. And
Hmm.
every time we're doing some event or anything like that, a lot of times they come to me and ask me, I
Yeah,
think, asking for approval, for permission, or what my idea is. And I always push back and I always ask them, like, what do you think? And then whatever their answer is, whether it's not what I would do, I let them do what they think is right so that they have ownership in what they're doing.
yeah,
They're wrong, then we're gonna have to figure out later. And even if I know it's wrong and it's not detrimental to like their
yeah.
job or anything, I let them make that mistake. So I'm
Hmm.
one of those that I'm very cerebral, so I like them to think. I like them to think for themselves because
Yeah,
I feel like when I'm not around, I want my members or whoever that reports to me to be able to think with my goals in their mind. You know what I mean?
hmm, hmm.
I like to be able to make them think. That's the
Yeah.
kind of leader I think I am.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. And so that's why I am excited about you all being a part. Because I know each and every one of you. I know both of you personally. I know what you all bring to this table. I always go back to the tune from Hamilton. I want to be in the room where it happens. I sing that every day. Put me in the room where it happens. And so we are here, and not only to encourage people, but to empower people to step into their greatness. As when you say, talking about your superpower, stepping into your superpower. As LaShawn said, being able to feel vulnerable in the place where you know you're connected to the right mentor, you're connected to the right leader. And so even at Tilt, our whole mission and our whole job is to empower people to reach their full potential. So when they go out, they're able to inspire other ones, other people to step up into their level of greatness. And so I'm glad you all are here. I know I want us to have our final, I want you all to say your final words for this afternoon. And then, of course, next Monday night, I'm going to be talking with Tim Adams, and I'm going to be talking to our men. Tim Adams and TK Gregory are going to be on this here platform as we're getting ready for Tilt 2020 for Leaders. And for you all out there, if you haven't grabbed your ticket yet, grab your ticket, get registered, because everybody's not going to be able to come to this table, but we are ready, ready, ready. So Sweeney, give us your last words that you want to say to the people that are watching this afternoon, and then LaShawn.
For sure. I think that it's really important that you guys, this coming to Tilt 2020 is a way to fill your cup, because every time I go to the list tour, I always get aha moments, you know. Every speaker will give me at least one aha moment, and then right away I can implement them, you know, and right away I'm a better leader. Right away I'm a better entrepreneur, because guess what? Everyone that's a part of the list tour, like, or Tilt 2020 is what it's called. Oh, use the hashtag.
The international store. You're right.
Yeah. Latanya handpicked everyone because she knew what would bring the masses, you know, the inspiration and the motivation they need, and the people that can bring those messages and to get those messages across to all of you guys. And for my segment, I'm going to be talking about finding your true superpower as a leader, and that has a lot to do with brand confidence. So I'm going to talk a lot about that, because you are your brand amongst other things. You know, you personally, you're a brand. And so as a leader, how do you, you know, gain that confidence in order to be a better leader, a better communicator, and someone that other people could look up to? So I think that if you haven't gotten your ticket, or if you didn't know what Tilt 2020 was, just make sure you go to thelisttour.com and grab your ticket and be a part of this. You know, Latanya and the List Tour has done whatever they need to do to pivot at this time. Everything is virtual, and I think that's something that you can take advantage of, or otherwise we would be in a location and you can't make it, but you have no excuse this time. So make sure you guys grab your ticket, and it's your way of supporting small businesses too.
Exactly. That's real.
We appreciate it. If for any reason you can't come, share it, you know, or if you have extra funds, buy a ticket for someone. So definitely come to Tilt 2020.
I love it. I love it. I love it. LaShawn.
Yes, yes. Listen, I have been blessed to be a part of Tilt for several years, just like the Sweeney May. And y'all, if you don't know, you tripping. I can say you better ask somebody, but we telling you. So if you don't believe it, I will tell you that the proof is in the pudding. And I always make a joke and say the banana pudding, because my daughter's brand. Let me tell you, the proof is in the banana pudding. And what Latanya Washington has done with her platform, she has given back, and I have watched entrepreneurs level up annually. Every single time I meet new entrepreneurs, if I saw them the year before, they double, triple whatever they was doing the year before. And that includes my house, not including what I've done, but I'm just going to pop my collar real quick. What she has done by being like an auntie for my daughter when it comes down to business has blown my mind. It has inspired Nyla to step her game up at a whole nother level. Before, Nyla was teaching young people how to step in and do an entrepreneurship class. Now she's teaching them how to apply that across the board in their studies, in how they shop out of university, how they make money with the gifts and things that their parents are buying, how to use the Christmas money your family is giving you to maximize and make more money to yourself. Who does that? She wrote that program
Your
for,
daughter.
right. my my bad too. But she wrote that for Miss Washington because of what she brings to the table. She's like, no, we need this to stay thriving. I need more young people to understand what they need to do, how they can make a difference, how that their gifts and talents that they have now young can be making them money. I never had to give my child allowance, y'all. She did it on her own. She allowed herself to have a business and ran it from another state. She took tools and support from what the list tour brings to the table and maxed out her dreams in so fast it was ridiculous. I think if leaders don't understand that they need to be fed,
Yeah.
they are already starving.
Yeah.
This is a platform where you will be fed as a leader. You're going to have like-minded people who know what it takes to get to that million, that $1 billion
Yeah.
mindset, to take your company to the next level, and then to influence your colleagues, those
Yeah.
who are also leaders, the ones who are above you as directors and administrators or owners or what have you, but then to build phenomenal teams. You guys, there are people on here that are bringing the heat.
They
As
bringing the heat. They bringing the heat.
and seeing some lessons that are blowing my mind. So you need to be in the house, honey. You can do it in your pajamas, your yoga pants, do it with
Drinking
some
your coffee.
bananas
Right.
and your ooey tea. Whatever you want, come collect the nuggets. Because there's information here that you're not gonna get jaw jacking with your homegirl, your home
No.
when you having business conversation, frustrated about some entrepreneur endeavor or some leadership practice that went wrong.
Yeah.
Come get your money worth.
Come on. And it ain't that expensive because you can go somewhere else and you pay a fortune.
This looked like a Tams drive-through. I saw the ticket price. I was like, for real,
You
let's talk.
say, huh?
Make your
They don't
own
know.
lunch.
They don't know
Make
I
your own breakfast. Make your own lunch.
volunteer.
Right. You good to go. You good to
Period.
go.
If don't nobody know, I literally buy airline tickets to get on a plane to go with this woman, serve her,
That's real talk.
get some nuggets, not
That's
all,
real talk.
some nuggets.
That's real
Y'all
talk.
miss out. Don't you miss out. It's virtual. You can't
That's
get this.
that's right. Real talk. Real talk. Real
Uh,
talk.
Thank you, Latanya.
And it
Thank
is
you all. I'm
one more thing. It is such a great community to be a part
Oh,
of. Like
yeah.
I've known Latanya, but through Latanya's The List Tour, I've met LaShawn. I've met so many other people that are a part of the List Tour. And if any day I had a question, any of them would be willing to answer, be willing
Yeah.
to help, be
absolutely.
willing to collaborate on an event I'm thinking about, anything like that. It's, if nothing else, do it for the network.
Do
Do
it
it
for
for the network. Do it for someone else. Empower somebody. And even for our young people, if you are a parent out here, I mean, let me say this. Like Nyla is now over. She even asked me, could we change the name for the young people? She is over that groups ages 16 to 21. So you parents, if you have young people that are looking that already stepping into leadership roles or entrepreneurship, they need to be in her course. It's now called the List Legacy. I mean, who does that? She says, can we change the neck? I'm like, honey, you do what you want to do because she brings the fire to the program. UNLV, a graduate doing her thing. And so we are so excited about what's going to happen next weekend, you all. I am glad that many of you guys that are already here will be there. And for many of you all that have not grabbed your tickets, I know a lot of people are still grabbing their tickets. I'm excited. I'm excited, so I get to be in the room where the room where it happens, the room where I get
Hey,
to be in the room, and
hey,
I'm
Latanya,
excited about that. And so once again, you all, thank you so much for tuning in. Yolanda, my sister, Dr. Sawyer. I saw Constance here. I can't even go up the list. I see Rachel. I see McKenna. Everybody doing watch parties. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all that will watch this later and say, I need to be in the room where it is happening because it is not about us. It is about us being able to give what we have on the inside to pour out to each and every individual that will be there. And what's going to be so amazing because we know you are our leaders and you too will have the opportunity to pour into someone else as well. Let's use our gifts and our talents for good. and bring what we have to this table. I'm excited. So thank you,
Can
Sweeney
I
May.
add? Sorry, can I add one more thing? I'm so
You
sorry.
better go
I'm
ahead with
so
yourself.
sorry. Because you brought up a good point about,
Mama, Yolanda.
yes, you brought up a good point about the young leaders. As part of my segment, I talk about how not many parents get to tell their kids what it means to be a leader, and sometimes that's okay, and sometimes they need to hear from their peers. And
Yeah,
so if you do have any young ones, I mean, if they already have those tendencies of being a leader, like bring them on to the legacy part of the Tilt 2020.
listening.
They can hear from people in their own age, and
Yeah,
that will be a message they'll receive differently from other people.
yeah, yeah. Because
You know,
I even have my cousin coming. My cousin will be in. She'll be a senior in high school. You got their ticket from Ohio.
understand off Latanya. People assume because of how amazing this platform that you built for
Mm,
so many years is, they assume that if their children are not selling a product,
mm.
service, or that they can't do it. They don't realize you are the business of you. So
That's
Nala
right.
is teaching the young people how to get what they want out of their schooling, out of the colleges that they're looking for, the high school, out of the classes that they select. How you walk away with all the tools you need, letters of recommendation, everything. It's not about trying to impress somebody. It's about making sure that the business of being you is
Right.
getting paid
Ain't
and
that something?
to do it. And you guys,
Wow.
she worked UNLV. She walked out with two. She created her own degree because they didn't have it, y'all. I'm telling you,
I did not know that.
yes,
You better go ahead,
yeah,
Nyla.
she worked them. She made them work for all the money that it costs. You hear me? And she's telling young people how to go in to an atmosphere, whether you are a soft spoken, whether you're having a hard time, whether it is
Yeah,
in sports. If you might be a captain who looking at how do I get my coach to look at me differently. She is telling you the strategy, the business
yeah.
of being you, of how to master and get yourself to the level you want to be at. She did it. She ran so many programs at that university. They paid her. It was
See?
ridiculous, but it was
So,
bomb. Y'all want it,
right.
she doing it for
But
pennies.
see what I'm saying? And who better to teach our young people than someone else who's already gone through the process? That's the list legacy, y'all. So if you know young folk that you have in your home, get them into her program. It is also it's at the on the list tour. It's on the listtour.com website. Get them in. We want to see everybody. We want to see everybody up level their game because we're in a state and a time and a season now. You better have your program right. You better learn something. You better know how to lead because you still have a family and people that are surrounding you. And so, thank you guys so much for being with me this afternoon and taking out your time and sharing your treasures with the world. I appreciate you all so much. Y'all, okay? I'll be calling y'all later. That's what I will be doing. Say, hey, 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 hey. But thank you all. You see how much fun we have, and this is how much fun this is how much fun we're going to have even on next weekend. And so, thank you all for being with us this afternoon. We appreciate you. For you all who have not registered yet for the list, well, we still call it the list, but it's Tilt for Leaders this year because that's the direction God sent us in this year. And thank God for that. Make sure you do that. We're excited about what's coming in your future. We're excited what's coming in our future. And until next week will be Tim Adams and TK Gregory will be on this call. So thank you all so much for being a part of us. And thank you so much for coming to night school. Bye.